so tiny. All right. I think we're live, Joan. Let's just make sure everything's working. Okay, yeah. I think we're good. I don't know why I'm seeing so much. All right. We're good, Joan. We're good. Welcome to the live stream where we do it live. I am Tony D, and that little barky bag of fur is little Joan and her mouth. She likes to run her mouth. What do you want? Stream just started and you're already being a problem. Rah. Clint Miller's here. Wow, a Monday live stream. Yes. The streams are now on Mondays. And the reason why is because it became too hard to do them on Sunday. I've got too much going on most Sundays, especially this time of year. So I made the executive decision to move them to Mondays. And there's some advantages to Mondays. Number one, being that I'll be well rested for the live stream. But the biggest advantage is that the box office numbers will be much more complete now. So we don't get quite all the numbers on Sunday. Some of those are estimated, and we miss out on some of the smaller films. So it makes it slightly better to look at the box office. The only downside is that, you know, it's Monday and it's not a great day to do stuff online, but I think kind of people are looking for stuff to watch, so maybe this will be a better day for me. I did a little social media, so hopefully some people will come in. Maybe we'll get a few new recruits, who knows. Little Joan's very quiet now that she's getting attention. What happened during my week, you might ask, and even if you don't, I'm going to tell you. I went to the Hamilton 250th celebration, which was my big thing. I thought it was going to be this massive thing, and someone had invited me, but I think they got the place confused. I'm like 90% sure it wasn't my fault this time. And ended up at the wrong place, had to bag it because it was only going to be about 3 hours long on Friday. But then Saturday I found the park that I was supposed to be at. It was in a different place, and I did okay. It wasn't as I thought it was going to be, a massive turnout kind of thing until the fireworks went off. But they actually closed up shop around 2:30. Hold your face still, Joe. Had something on your face, as always. Stuff in your face. And that was about it for me. I got a bunch of stuff this week. I'm doing Laurel Manor tomorrow, which is actually really close to where I live, and I drive past it all the time. And I've been trying to get a gig there since I started doing this. So for about 3 years, I've been trying to get a gig at Laurel Manor, and I finally booked it. So I'm very psyched for that, because it's going to be at 10 o'clock, and I'll be home for lunch. Like, no problem. Hardly any gas. Little Joan won't miss me at all. Will you, Joan? Will you, little fluff? Then on Wednesday, I'm doing the Ocean City Public Library, which is funny because one of my relatives is having his housewarming, and he lived in Ocean City temporarily while he was waiting for his house to be emptied so he can move in. And of course, he's having his move-in celebration on the day I will be in Ocean City, when he could have just come to see me. So, ironic. But let's get into it, Joan. Let's get into the box office and stop petting you, because you don't deserve it anyway, since you pooped all over the house today. Yeah, you're a bad dog. So go sit over here, bad dog. All right, see if you can shut up for the live stream. We have a very interesting box office tonight, as many of you have probably already surmised. Ba ba ba. Supergirl is not the #1 movie in America. I know. It's a shocker. It's a stunner. All right, Joan, I'm going to put you on the floor because maybe you'll leave me alone. There you go. The #1 movie in America is Minions and Monsters. This is Illumination's animated thing. It did underperform, though. at about 37 million. They were expecting more. Quite frankly, I was expecting a little more. But that was just for the weekend. It actually made a bunch of money prior to that because they released it July 1st. So it managed to squeak by at 160 million for opening weekend. But you kind of can't count. It's really more like opening week when you add up all the days. So next weekend, I think you're going to see a big drop off. Now, this movie cost 85 million to make. 160 puts it within spitting distance of the production cost. And probably in 2 weeks they should break even. So, but the drop off is going to make it look worse than it is, I think, because it's probably going to be like, I don't know, 15 million next weekend. I'm not sure what. I think it's up against what. Oh, it's up against the Odyssey? Nobody's going to see that. I don't think anybody's seeing that. Number 2, dropping from 1, finally, is Toy Story in its third week. 30 million. It's a juggernaut at 764 million. It's not going to make $1 billion, but it did okay. That's pretty okay. Needed to do 625, and it more than beat that. So we're definitely in the black for this movie. And then number 3, you think it would be Supergirl, and you'd be wrong. Clint Miller, Hollywood is a disaster movie. It's true. Third, I'm very happy to see this, is Young Washington. I'm glad to see a biopic about the greatest president, the father of our country, doing well at 19 million. That's pretty good for a biopic. And only cost $20 million to make. So it's pretty much broke even situation by next weekend, I'll say. Needs to do 40 million. I think by next weekend it'll probably be at 40. I'm surprised they didn't release this internationally. I would think some people would, I didn't think it would do big numbers internationally, but I think people would be interested. Not in China, obviously. Bunch of commies. But commies would never have it. But certainly in Europe, certainly in England, they would like to see this. There's a lot of English stuff in here. And technically, Washington was English. Sure, he was the first American, but before that, he was an Englishman. So I'm kind of surprised there's no distribution there as of yet. But this is the big story. Brace yourselves. Number 4, Supergirl. Couldn't even make the number 1 movie in America last weekend. It was at number 2. Drops to 4 at 77%. Let that sink in. 8.6 million. A drop of 77%. How do you like your interview now, Miley Alcock, with your non-binary BS and maybe Supergirl's gay nonsense? How do you like that now, James Gunn, with your grand plan to, I don't know, screw up every movie in the DCU, I guess? Doesn't look too good now, does it? Clint Miller, the Lotus Eaters panel seemed interested in Young Washington. Yeah, I would think they would love to see it if it's a decent biopic. Especially this, this time of year. This year. 250 years. Trump is touting us all over the world. I would think people would be interested. Like, they wouldn't be interested in a lot of movies like this. But I think for the 250th anniversary of America, somebody in, let's say, India might go, I might want to go see this. That was my Indian accent. Thank you. I would see Indian movies about Indian figures if they looked interesting. I think this movie looks interesting enough you could sell it overseas. Again, not a lot. It would be more of an art house movie for them, but pretty good. Pretty good to release it on July 4th as well. The 250th anniversary of America, you release Young Washington. For here, it's a great move because people don't know enough about Young Washington before he was, General Washington. He belonged, when he was Colonel Washington, he belonged to the same church as Betsy Ross and George Ross, who was Betsy Ross's first husband. She had three. During the Revolution, she was married 3 times. George's father signed the Declaration of Independence, and he signed up, of course, to fight, but unfortunately died early in the war. Betsy remarried a sea captain. I believe his last name was Blackburn or Ashburn. And he was captured by the British, and he was put in a POW camp in England. There he met a man named Claypool, and he got sick, and he told Claypool, if I don't make it, please go back to Philadelphia and take care of Betsy. Well, the sea captain died, and Claypool was released before the end of the war, and he went back to Philadelphia and married Betsy and became her 3rd husband. But initially, Betsy had met George Washington when he was Colonel Washington at their church. They went to the same church. She eloped, by the way. She was a wild woman, Betsy. She eloped in the 1700s. That was pretty scandalous to elope. But she was like one of 17 or 18 siblings. Probably they didn't even miss her. Somebody not here this morning for breakfast? I think I'm counting wrong. Clint Miller. I have dated an Indian woman in the late 70s. She told me that a lot of Indian movies at that time were chases on horseback. Well, not anymore. A lot of the movies are chases in cars. And they have a lot of badass action scenes. I love the Indian cinema. It's pretty cool. A lot of movies are all the same to me, but a lot of them are pretty cool. There's a cool movie about a toaster. This really cheap guy gives a toaster as a wedding gift, and then the wedding gets called off, and he wants the toaster back. It looks really funny. I didn't see it, but I think the Indian film industry is really still in the phase like we were in the 90s. So they're still doing a lot of fun stuff, and they're catching up to us in terms of special effects and music and all that good things. Then if you look at like Nigeria's movies, and Nigeria makes the most movies, believe it or not. That's the craziest stat I ever heard. But their movies are pretty low budget. Like they just shoot movies like Trauma. It's like, hey, you want to be in a movie? We're going to shoot a movie over here. And they'll just have guys in like regular clothes saying lines and doing stuff. There doesn't appear to be a lot of sets. It's just shot in people's houses and on the street there. There's always a background with like a cinder block wall and a street that's all eroded because it's dirt. But just recently they started to kick up their game a little with some sets and some costuming. But they wouldn't have to do much to kick up their game. They're pretty low budget, but they crank them out, man. So I guess you would say their movies are like where our movies were, like, I don't know, in the 70s maybe. No, not the 70s. Probably like the 40s or 30s, you know. They just have the technology, but they're kind of not totally sure what to do with it yet. But the Indian movies are real. They're coming right up behind us, man. But they have those weird endings with the entire cast dances and sings, and then sometimes they go into. I guess it was RRR. It was one of the big movies. The end of it was this weird thing where the celebrities are like paying tribute to various political figures who had been portrayed in the movie. It was very strange. It like turned into a variety show right at the end of the movie. But I still like him. But looking at Supergirl at number 4, 8.6 million. This is a disaster. Look at this. $99 million. It didn't even break 100 million. That's pathetic. James Gunn. Look, I defended James Gunn for a while. And I really like Guardians of the Galaxy. It's a really good film. But you can't defend this. And you might say, well, he didn't direct it. Oh, he had his hand in it, according to reports. Clint Miller, Mandu and Gugu is outperforming the Sheep Detectives. Well, we'll get to that. That movie's cooked anyway, but this is a disaster. A disaster. And it's not going to get any better. What's it going to drop to next weekend? 4 million if you're lucky. This is done. This thing won't even crack 120 mil. So it's lost 50 million in production, and whatever they spent on advertising, got to be another 50 mil, 50, 60. So they probably lost over $100 million on this thing. Pathetic. Pathetic. Number 5, holding at number 5 is Disclosure Day. 216 million. It had a budget of 115. It needs to do 230 just to break even on the production, and they spent a lot of money advertising this thing. So this movie's cooked too, because they're at 5.7 mil. Next week they'll be lucky to do 2.3, 3.4 maybe, something like that. That's nothing. They're not even gonna cover the budget. This movie is cooked. Next weekend, no. Steven Spielberg just doesn't have the appeal he used to have. Obsession, still doing well. 403 million for a movie that cost $1 million. That's how you make a movie. That's how you make money. 52 days in theaters, still at 5.2 million. Number 6 movie in America, dropped from 3 to 6. Backrooms only dropped from 6 to 5, 3.3 million. Also did very well. They'd be talking about this movie more if Obsession didn't open up against it and make even more money. But this is at 349 million. It only cost 10 million. Clint, putting out the right message is more important than making money. Yeah, apparently for these studios. And I still have to see both these movies, Obsession and Backrooms. But they're finally starting to leave the theaters. Number 8, dropping from 4, is Jackass, Best and Last. This movie dropped 68%, and I'm not surprised. It looked like a total cash-in. Look at the movie poster. This is the movie posters from 2 movies ago. $10 million. It made 16 already, so it'll make its money. It won't lose any money. I mean, you want to talk about a cheap movie to make. Was this some sort of contractual obligation? I guess. I love the Jackass stunts, but I think this was completely unnecessary to put in a movie theater. Completely unnecessary. If you were going to do a best of, do it on TV. Put it on MTV. That's where it started. Man, MTV is so... Talk about something that's cooked. MTV's so cooked, they couldn't even put this on MTV anymore. I don't even know what's on MTV these days. Is it still a channel? Let me see. Is MTV still a channel? Yes, apparently it is. While the main network remains active, MTV did shut down its dedicated 24-hour music-only channels, including MTV Music, MTV 80s, MTV 90s globally on December 31st, 2025. So viewers can still access music content through remaining sister channels like MTV Classic and MTV Live, as well as branded fast channels on platforms like Pluto and Tubi? Oh, that's weird. Weird. But yeah, I mean, put it on network TV then. I don't know. At this point, is Jackass really that big a deal? I mean, back in the day, it was outrageous. Steve-O was swimming in a sewer with poop. Ugh, it's gross. But these days, people do this on the internet every other day now. Should have just put it on the internet. Charged people like $5. I'd have paid for it. For $5, I'd have paid for it. Number 9 is Scary Movie, 1.1 million. You know what I looked at? Apparently, Scary Movie 5 is considered one of the worst movies ever made in the top 75 worst movies. So, made $210 million though on a $30 million budget. So there you go. It's telling though, like Scary Movie 5 had Charlie Sheen in it back when Charlie Sheen was still relevant. I told you, comedy is a young man's game. Unfortunately, I hear this movie's like unwatchable. Number 10, jumping from 17. And this is that, where they suddenly put it back into more movie theaters in an attempt to jack it up in its second week. But it's only in 28 movie theaters. It's called The Invite. And it's basically Seth Rogen and Olivia Wilde are a couple. And Penelope Cruz and Edward Norton are the cool couple who want to have sex with them. Like they're swingers. To which I say, so? Who wants to see this movie? This isn't a movie. This is like an episode of a TV sitcom. It's, I don't know why. Maybe it's a play. But I don't know why you made a movie on this. It seems woke-tarded. It seems like yet another piece of evidence that they're going to try to push polyamory. or swinging. It just looks dumb. But I will say, Penelope Cruz and Ed Norton, always rock solid. Olivia Wilde, can't stand her acting. Can't stand it. Mark is here. Hello, Mark. Seth Rogen attached to anything is a big red flag for me. It is now for me, yeah. Back in the day, I loved Seth Rogen. I admit it. This Is the End is still one of the funniest movies ever. But that, to me, was it. Like, after that is when his slide started for me. And once he went toe-to-toe with a stand-up comic from Scotland named Count Dankula, and he lost. And I thought, how embarrassing for a Hollywood celebrity to go toe-to-toe with an internet celebrity thinking he was going to just run him over. It just was dumb. And after that, I couldn't stomach anything he was in. So, the only thing that saves This Is the End for me is the fact that every celebrity in it is playing themselves, and they almost all die. I think they all die. Yeah, except Danny McBride, who's still very funny. What's next? Masters of the Universe. Jack Posobiec trying to push this movie. I'm not sure why. Drops from 8 to 11. 112 million. For a $170 million movie. It's cooked. It's cooked. That's about where Supergirl is headed. Like 112 million in this week. It's cooked. It never was good. I feel bad for the people in it. At least they tried. They made an honest, push based on movie stuff and not on politics. They could have easily done some politicking in it. They kind of stayed away from that as much as they could. At least the lead did. So I got to give them credit. I wouldn't put them on my list of people I boycotted. But yeah, it's a dumb premise. It's a well, I shouldn't even say dumb. It's derivative for a action, figure movie that they just shouldn't have made this movie. Should have never been greenlit. But you lost your money, so maybe you'll learn, Amazon. Probably not. Star Wars, there it is. Mandu and Gugu. $500,000, $564K. Finally going out of theaters after 45 days. Mark, I saw Bob Hope's special back in the 1970s where every celebrity that cameoed was killed one by one. It was hysterical. I think I saw that same one. Wasn't it that they were all in a house? But it wasn't, it wasn't a real house. It was like a TV set house. It was very well lit. And, gosh, I remember the guy who sang Rhinestone Cowboy was in it, and he sang the song. Was that it? Was that the one? I enjoyed MOTU, Masters of the Universe. It will do better streaming. Probably. And that's where Amazon expected to make their money anyway. Because if you already have Amazon and they offer it for free or next to free, then it would be worth it to see. It's definitely not a pay $14 to see a movie. But if you offered it to me for $2 or $3 maybe, and I was up for it, sure. If it was free, maybe. Mandu and Gugu has made $339 million, which is that enough money? Yeah, it's just enough. You needed 330 to cover the production, but that probably doesn't cover the advertising. So they advertised the hell out of this movie. Clint Miller, Glenn Campbell? I believe it was Glenn Campbell. Yeah, I remember that. I think I remember that special. And they all died. It was a murder mystery thing. It was very strange. That was around the era of Battle of the Network Stars when they would make the celebrities compete in like rowing contest and swimming contest. It was kind of like Survivor, but only celebrities were in it. I remember those days. Battle of the Network Stars. Yeah, so Mandalorian and Grogu going out of theaters at 45 days. Probably cooked. I mean, it's not going to make the advertising back, I don't think. Number 12 is Michael, $492K. 73 days in theaters. Almost at $1 billion. Man, so close. So close to $1 billion. 991 million. 991.4. Man. It's just like Oppenheimer, though. You can't get it. You can't get it. Alex Ogle is here. Hello, bigots from Hanoi. Oh, happy 250th America. F yeah. Thank you, Alex. How's Hanoi? Sunny? Humid? Mark, I remember who the killer was. Do you want to know? I totally forget. You'll have to tell me. Clint Miller. Yes, tell me, Mark. Everyone wants to know, Mark. I don't remember. Let's see. After Michael is Leviticus, which was the gay conversion camp possession movie. 337K. Still in theaters. It made about $7.5 million on a budget, I'm guessing, Could have been that low. Looked pretty low key. Johnny Carson murdered them. Oh. I didn't remember that. That's pretty funny, though. Makes sense. Makes perfect sense. Now he doesn't have to interview them anymore. Yeah, it would have to be someone like that, right? Like somebody with a connection to every single celebrity. That's pretty funny. Clint Miller. Alex, I prefer racist. No. It's a joke. Maddie's Secret, another movie they jammed in a bunch of theaters in its second week or third week. 212K. This is some sort of Canadian comedian who did, I guess he's doing drag or he's trans. I'm not sure which is which anymore. So it didn't look funny. So I'll just pass. Lucky Strike is the next movie, 182K. Another World War II movie. Not sure why they keep cranking these out. You really have to do something unique to make a World War II movie, I think. The Devil Wears Prada 2, 150K. I tried to watch this movie with my girlfriend, but I found all the characters very unsympathetic. Alex Ogle, hot, humid, not too sunny. I hate the feeling that permanent sheen of sweat. I returned to Canada at the weekend, so from one communist country to another. I thought Vietnam wasn't communist anymore. They're just sort of pseudo-communist. Yeah, so The Devil Wears Prada 2. The main character is Anne Hathaway, who's a journalist. And and I got to do a video about this. This is the faux reality that people in Hollywood live in. Journalists, in their world, are these crusading, noble people who write stories not for money. No. Not for money, but because they love the truth, and once in a while they get awards, and they are crusaders, and they have all sorts of credibility these days. That's literally the premise of Anne Hathaway's character. Because what happens is, Meryl Streep's character, who's the bee who is in the first movie, who's, I think she's the devil, right? They're forced to hire Anne Hathaway back because the newspaper gets completely, bought up and everybody's fired, right? Even though they're winning journalism awards, which, like, these days they might as well have pulled out of the trash. I mean, is there any journalism left in the United States and New York City? I mean, are you going to pretend like Anne Hathaway's character works for place like the New York Times? Is there any real journalism going on in New York? I kind of think not. It's incredibly biased. But anyway, the writers or the owners of the fashion magazine that Anne Hathaway used to work at hire her back in order to give the magazine credibility again. So that's the premise. That's why Anne Hathaway goes back to the fashion magazine. But before that, she's been doing crusading work. Because, and then to go back to a fashion magazine, that's where she could do some real good work, telling truth to the power at a fashion magazine. I mean, these people live in a pseudo-reality that just nobody ever connects with except them. So they make these movies, and it's not the plot that anybody's interested in. At best, I think the only reason people would watch movies like that is that it's not, or number one, they don't know that world, so they see it as, well, I guess that's the way those places are, or that it's just full of fashion and celebrities, so that's kind of a kick. But yeah, I didn't want to sit through the end, but I offered to, but oh well. Clint Miller, is the Hanoi Hilton still open? Alex Ogle, I'll tell that to the statue of Lenin not too far from my hotel. Oh my God, really? Mark, I thought every woman in this kind of movie was a magazine editor. Yeah, apparently. Clint, can't make money by crusading. Yeah, and it just, I don't know, it just sets up this faux reality. Like everybody in journalism is this wonderful person who, and they're just so corrupt these days. Particularly these days with the internet. Like if they were on the internet, I'd be like, okay, maybe you can make that argument. But whatever. The Sheep Detectives is, I don't know, number 17. 149K. Going out of theaters on its 60th day after 2 months. 129 million. Didn't make enough money. It's a shame. It looked okay. For kids movie. It'll probably get some play on a streamer. Tuner, 140K. They put it in more theaters. 9 million. That did not make money, I would guess. But it looked good. I still kind of want to see it. Dustin Hoffman's in it, too. The Furious. Oh, I want to see this movie so bad. It looks amazing. Looks totally bonkers. 20 million, but it only made, it did make 32. So that's not too bad. But not enough to here. It made it all overseas. Yeah, this movie looks bonkers. So sign me up. As soon as this hits a platform, I'm going to see it. The Death of Robin Hood. Oh, there's a happy movie. 58K in its third week. Why would you even do this movie? Like, you're Hugh Jackman, and they're offering you things. Like, why do... Oh, you want to do a depressing Robin Hood movie where you're old, beat up Robin Hood, and you're a jerk? Like, who would say yes to that, I guess? I guess Hugh Jackman. Mark, in the CW Supergirl show, Kara was a print reporter for the 21st century... in the 21st century for a weekly magazine. She should have been a blogger. Yeah, if you were going to update it. Or it should have taken place back in, like, 1987. They update these things every way. Hollywood will update everything except the media. Because they still, in my opinion... those same studios that make these movies still have investments in those kinds of media. So they're perfectly fine to go, okay, yeah, let's put in a plug for, our paper or whatever. It's pathetic. It really is. After that is Stop That Train. The drag queen movie. $54,000. This made $3.9 million, I assume, from nothing but drag queens. Mark, remember when Errol Flynn swung onto the tree branch and said, "Welcome to Sherwood"? Of course I do. They put it in a Bugs Bunny cartoon. Or no, it was in the cartoon where Daffy is Robin Hood. Welcome to Sherwood. Next up is The Rose of the Nevada, 49K. This was the movie about the ship that disappears and the guys come on it. And they end up 30 years in the past. I don't know. Didn't look great. I Love Boosters. This thing's still in theaters? Who the hell's watching 41 theaters? Why even bother? No, sorry, 36 theaters. 43K. For 43K, who is this movie even for? Shoplifters? Peter Asher, Everywhere Man, 40K. Romaria, 28K. In its second week, they added it to theaters. A new movie, Mary Oliver, Saved by the Beauty of the World, 24K in 4 theaters. Mortal Kombat 2 somehow still hanging around, 20K. Sherman's March? I saw Sherman's March. That's a pretty good movie. If you haven't seen Sherman's March, what it is, it's a documentary, and it begins as a documentary about General Sherman from the Civil War. But the documentarian ends up talking about his own life. So he kind of abandons Sherman and just starts talking about himself and all the problems he's having making the documentary. It's kind of a cool movie. That's weird. They put that back in one theater. Greg Allman, Music of My Soul, 7K. Time and Water, I believe that was the one directed by Kristen Stewart, 5K. Blue Heron, 2,900K. $2,922. The Devil Queen, 2K. Oh Horizon, 1.8K. Silent Friend, that's a tree movie, 1.6K. These were all in like 1 theater, 4 theaters. Carolina, 1.5K. Marco, Sherman's March, that has to be over 30 years old. Yeah, I guess it must be, maybe it's its 30th anniversary and they did a showing. A Great Awakening, 1K. Queen Kelly, 1K. That's also another old movie. The Currents, $979. Underland, $839. The Seduction of Mimi, $714. Erupkaja, $353. Gensai, $171. And Killer of Sheep, $107. Also an old movie. With 44 movies reporting, it's $117,650,428. That seems like a big drop from last week. Let me see that. Let me see the drop from last week. Yeah, last week was 154. And the week before that was 229, although a lot of that was Toy Story, but still. Basically, it's still Toy Story and Minions now. That's kind of pathetic. July 3rd box office isn't even the biggest box office weekend this summer. Pathetic. Pathetic, Hollywood. If Toy Story hadn't been so good up to this point, you wouldn't have stood a chance. And Odyssey is going to tank. It's going to tank. I wish I had all the numbers here. I can't show you the downvotes anymore, but last I heard it was over 500,000. I forget how to do it now, how to see them all. It was over 500,000, 65K upvotes, and about 565K downvotes. So, pretty pathetic. Yeah, it doesn't look good. Does not look good. It didn't help that they finally announced... what's her name? Elliot Page. They finally announced Elliot Page in the movie as Sinon, who's not even in the Iliad or the Odyssey. It's like he's gone so far afield just to include Elliot Page. But the biggest story regarding the Odyssey this week, let me see if I can find it. Oh, here's Variety. The Odyssey, first reactions are raves for Christopher Nolan's astonishing, epic, and flawless filmmaking. Breathtaking, bold, and perfection. That's from Variety, keep in mind. Let's see. The Odyssey. It was all over X today. Here it is. Uh, what's the one thing you would say to Homer? This is Lupita Nyong'o, who plays Helen of Troy. The one thing she would say to Homer is, how do you feel about the screen time given to women? So imagine you have a time machine, and the time machine, you can bring people forward into the future and keep them alive just a little bit longer, as they're on their deathbed or something, to ask them a question. This is what Lupita Nyong'o, Helen of Troy, quote unquote, would ask Homer. Wasting all our technology. How do you feel about the screen time given to women? I think his response would be, what? Well, huh? And that would be it. She would have wasted her question. It's so angry, so self-entitled, such BS, pathetic. Whatever sympathy I had for this woman who was just playing a part, just got hired and is playing a part. That's fine. Like if you get hired as Helen of Troy and you're black and you don't really look like Helen of Troy, but you took the gig anyway. Like I can't really fault you if you need the money, you need the exposure, your agent set it up. Like I can't fault you for accepting a job. But I can fault you for this. You didn't need to say this. This tells me you're on board. You're on board with the stupid message, whatever it is. I assume it's a message of give me many Oscars because I put a bunch of woke stuff in my film. Now give me Oscars, give me. That to me is the message of the Odyssey. Give me Oscar. Give me Oscars. But everybody in her defense, everybody in this damn movie's miscast, except for maybe Robert Pattinson, the only guy who looks epic. Maybe Anne Hathaway. Maybe. Tom Holland even looks uncomfortable in it. Alex Ogle. His response would be, women don't go to war. My story wasn't about you. You did nothing heroic. Yeah, and like Helen of Troy, as somebody pointed out in one of these threads, was kidnapped or went with the Trojans, I forget. And, Odysseus spends 10 years trying to get her back. Like there's a 10-year wind-up, and then Odysseus spends 10 years trying to get her back. And it's like, it's not about her. It's not about Helen of Troy. Helen of Troy's in it. It's like looking at a movie like, I don't know, Citizen Kane, and saying, what about the secretary in the opening of Citizen Kane? Like, what about her? We didn't hear much from her. It wasn't about her, you idiot. What about Aunt May and Spider-Man? She didn't get as many scenes as Peter Parker. It's not about her. Okay, it's not about her. Mark, Helen willingly went to Troy with Paris. That's right. Yeah. So, I don't think it's portrayed that way in the movie, by the way. Doesn't look that way. It looks like she's kidnapped. But here's the funny thing about putting her in the movie at all. There's no other black Greeks in this thing. Other than, unless you count Travis Scott, the rapper, who's supposed to be a bard. He could be black. I mean, bards travel around the world, I guess. You could make an argument like you could get away with that one. Although I assume whatever rapping he's doing in the movie will be complete cringe. But, if you make Helen of Troy black, what you're essentially establishing in the movie is there were a bunch of black people in ancient Greece. So if you're going to establish that, the very least you could do is back it up by putting a few of like Odysseus's crew and some of the random soldiers and make them black. Right? I mean, that would make sense, because then you would be like, oh, okay, there were black guys back then. I mean, the people who don't know anything, watching a movie and getting their facts. But instead, they don't do that. Only Helen of Troy is black, I think. From the clips I saw, anyway. Doesn't make any sense. I mean, you got Zendaya's in it. But I said from this still, like Zendaya, you know, she's very light skinned for a black person. She can almost, you know, with Matt Damon looking kind of tan, you almost can't tell. Like, you can kind of get away with Zendaya. Plus, she's playing a goddess, so she could just look whatever. It doesn't really matter, although she doesn't look Greek at all. But you can almost kind of get away with her. But not Helena Troy. Like, Helena Troy would have been one of the people in the kingdom. And you can't really make the argument, well, it's fiction. Well, sure, it's fiction. Frankenstein's fiction, but if you turn the Frankenstein monster into an octopus, that's not what was in the book. You can say, well, Dracula's fiction. Well, if Dracula, you rewrite it so it's about an accountant instead of a vampire, it's still fiction, I guess, but it's not Dracula fiction. It's some weird version of your, you know, you just rewriting stuff. Mark, Zendaya works for me. She is a goddess and look like whatever she wishes. That's true too. Yeah, that's a point. She can look like whoever she wants. Same thing with the other gods and goddesses, right? You can kind of get away with casting them as whoever. So if you had cast her as Athena, it wouldn't have been that big a deal. But I would say that if you're going to cast Greek gods and goddesses, they should all be Greek, but you'd be less, you'd have some creative cover. You have like no creative cover for Lupita Nyong'o as Helen of Troy, like zero. You have zero cover. And people are blasting this movie all up and down the internet, and I don't blame them. So, but here are the reviewers here to defend it, I assume. The Odyssey is a staggering achievement. It boasts spectacular, even terrifying set pieces that feel like Christopher Nolan fully embracing the horrors of Greek mythology. I don't remember too many horrors in Greek mythology, but okay. Yet, how he tastefully recontextualizes the story for modern day that kept my head buzzing. I'm not sure what you mean by that. In a world where pride, ego, entitlement continue to fuel wars and endless bloodshed, Nolan uses Odysseus' ancient tale as a channel to question what it would take for us to truly forgive our past sins. Epic and meditative in equal measure. The ending left me soaring with hope. That this all sounds like gaslighting to me. Don't blow smoke up my A. I would not trust that review. That was too much. Here's Fandom Pulse saying that the Odyssey trailer is being buried with dislikes. Scott Menzel says all of this online backlash towards the Odyssey is so manufactured. There's no way this movie isn't making at least $500 million, and I'm predicting that it will probably hit $1 billion. If not, possibly slightly more. I don't know about $1 billion, but $500 million seems kind of reasonable. But I don't think it'll do much more than that. Again, I just don't think for an audience of today's people, right? Like, when I was coming up, I knew what the Odyssey was, but I was a geek. I played Dungeons and Dragons. I knew all about the Cyclops and Scylla and Charybdis. I knew that the Police had used it in a song. Like, I was into all that. But today, I don't know, man. Travis Scott. Why would you put Travis Scott in your movie if you thought people knew the Odyssey? Mark, soaring with hope. No human talks like that. A new trailer for Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey has dropped online, bringing with it the first official footage of Zendaya as Athena. Oh, don't stop there. So there's Zendaya. There's Lupita Nyong'o. See, she doesn't look like Helen of Troy is leaving willingly. And again, there's no black guys in the crew. It's just her. She's the only black person in this movie other than Zendaya. And there's Elliot Page as Sinan. Really should have given her a 3-day beard to sell the Man Act, I think. I don't know what this is. I think this is Matt Damon killing the suitors. That might be a cool scene. Here's the Hollywood Reporter. First reaction, staggering. Nolan's biggest film to date. The Odyssey. First reactions from critics and fanboys who've seen it. Yeah, that's just what I wonder what the fanboys said. I wonder if they liked it. Geez, do you think the fanboys of Christopher Nolan liked the movie? Mark, that is supposed to be Helen's twin sister. I'm not joking. Oh. So she gets to play 2 roles in this? Okay. So here's Robert Pattinson. Pattinson looks like he always kind of does, but his delivery was pretty spot on. Here's Anne Hathaway. I think Anne is starting to show her age. So, kind of good in a way, but I liked her in Nolan's Batman. She was really good Catwoman. She surprised me in that role, but I don't know. Here I'm on the fence with her. Mark. Clytemnestra. Clytemnestra? Clytemnestra. Clytemnestra. I'm saying that. I'm butchering that. Oh, here we go. Helen of Troy actress Lupita Nyong'o wishes Homer had spent more time with a female perspective. Yeah, this is a disaster. I mean, look, you could say that, oh, she's an actress and she doesn't know what she's saying and blah, blah, blah. Like, why would you say this? This film is already getting trashed on the internet. Why would you talk this way about Homer? It's a disaster. Why wouldn't you just come out and say, I think it's really an epic movie. I really enjoyed working on it. Just all the platitudes that celebrities are supposed to say. Why would you get into, oh, what would Homer think? Oh, I think he would be astounded. Like, that's what you should have said. Christopher Nolan unwittingly defangs the people who defend the Odyssey to own the Chudge. We make films for the theatrical audience, and it's the audience who tells us what it is. What audience told you to recast Helen of Troy or Race Swapper? What audience told you, you know what? I really need a trans man in the Odyssey. What audiences are telling you that? I think what the audiences wanted was something epic. If they wanted anything at all. I don't think the Odyssey is something they even want, but the Odyssey Global Tour? Follow the epic journey around the globe. London, July 6th. Paris, July 8th. Mumbai, July 11th. New York City, July 14th. Beijing, July 30th. Seoul, August 4th. The Odyssey is going to be like The Last Jedi. It's going to make over $1 billion, have high critic reception, and A cinema score. but thousands of loud, outspoken trolls and bots will spam IMBD and Rotten Tomatoes, giving it a 1 score, with people believing that's how everyone felt. So they're already laying the groundwork for this is why the movie didn't do well. Part of the problem is they just talk too much about the damn movie. Just put it out. Don't talk this much about it. Like, I understand you got to advertise it. Do some clever things to advertise it. There's lots you could do. You can go to Greece and shoot some little making of movie. People would love that. You could do a little mini documentary on the history of the Odyssey. The problem with that, though, is if they've used some feminist retelling of this story, you're going to run into some issues there. And that's what they did, so. Look at this. The women of the Odyssey. Women, 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 women. Hi, I'm from Hollywood. Women, women, women. Women, 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 women. Are there any men in this movie? Women, 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 women. So, great. There are women in the movie. Thanks. Thanks for telling me that. Doesn't look like any women under the age of 30, though. But sure. Who's this over here? I don't remember who this is. And this chick on the end. Oh, here it is. Cosmic Book News. The Odyssey trailer crossovers 500,000 dislikes on world premiere day. I have seen the Odyssey. Not even the gods can prepare you for this film. Groundbreaking film. An experience I'll never forget. Here's Neurotic. Taking a poll. Will the Odyssey flop? 74% say yes. Rachel Leishman. The Odyssey is as epic as its source material, with that level of Christopher Nolan spark that makes it something special. It's a story of love and loss and takes you on quite the journey in only the way Nolan knows how. Breathtaking, bold, and perfection. The Odyssey is a filmmaking feast, a grand and gripping rendition of Homer's epic, and one that feels uniquely Christopher Nolan. It's sincerely hard to imagine any other filmmaker on the planet being able to bring that source material to screen with this much scale, scope, and heart. Doesn't feel like it has any heart at all to me, but sure. Breaking my Twitter silence to say the Odyssey Film of the Year, another masterpiece from Nolan, elemental, electric, emotional, just pure cinema. I wonder why they didn't give the influencers a first look at this movie. Strange. Strange. The cinematography is breathtaking. I don't even like this still. Look at this still. It's washed out. All right, enough of me bashing the Odyssey. There'll be plenty of time for that next week. Let's get on to the trades, the Odyssey first reactions. Members of the film press are calling Christopher Nolan's adaptation of Homer's epic a staggering achievement with flawless filmmaking. Could this be the end of these people? Could they die on this hill? Like, could this thing be such a wreck that people finally go, why the F did I go see that movie? Everybody told me it was good. Tilly Norwood to lead new movie, Misaligned, making feature debut for AI actor. It's a comedy drama telling a coming-of-age story infused with existential AI chaos. So this is going to be Tilly Norwood's debut, a fake actress who doesn't exist. Say that is a fake picture, an AI picture of, they're calling her Tilly Norwood. So this is Hollywood finally going, oh, we'll finally get rid of actors. And we'll start by just getting rid of one actor. See how it goes. And then we'll get rid of the rest. I'd be lying if I didn't say some of that didn't appeal to me. So I met a lot of actors. But, of course, the actors are losing their damn minds. But I have a sneaking suspicion this is going to be a disaster of a film. Like, it just won't do anything. But it'll be so cheap to make. It'll do enough money. Like, it'll be like, oh, it made a little money. Lauren Bennett, party rock anthem singer and GRL member, dies at 37. That seems a little early to die. What the heck did she die from? Was she sick? Cause of death was not given. Okay. So that could go either way. Either she could have been sick, or it could be drugs. Could have been an accident. Minions and Monsters fizzles over July 4th weekend with a franchise low 61 million debut. I'm kind of surprised, but at the same time, it makes sense. I mean, there's been a lot of Minion movies. I was surprised they did so well initially. Kevin Costner's Dances with Wolves set for new restored director's cut that will launch at Locarno. Okay. I don't know. Dances with Wolves was already pretty long, but going to make it longer. Bruce Springsteen says he's a patriot for standing up to Trump. I believe in critical patriotism. Well, apparently you believe in complimenting yourself too. Oh, I'm such a patriot. Look at me criticizing the president. No one's ever done that before. Can you imagine saying something that self-aggrandizing? I can't even imagine saying that. Like to a room of two people I couldn't say that to. I'd be embarrassed. It's cringe. I believe in critical patriotism. Okay. Well, you're a lunatic, Bruce, in my opinion. Stop playing around. Go make music. Stop doing politics. You're embarrassing. I'm just glad I don't have to hear your stupid music anymore. Back in the 80s, you couldn't turn on the radio without hearing Born in the USA. Just be rich. Why can't people retire and be rich? Give yourself a top hat and a monocle and go eat caviar and just leave us alone. Why do you gotta keep making money until you die? Why? Doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't understand. Who the hell wants to go see an old man prance around? Although Iggy Pop did pretty good, I gotta say. I did see him at age 60. He was dancing like a maniac. World Cup delivers huge viewership and pop culture sizzle for Fox, Telemundo, and Peacock. My friends were watching the World Cup. I watched a little bit with them. Not my thing. I sort of just tuned in and out. Soccer is boring. It's so boring. But there are a couple good plays, I guess. I don't know. Let's see. Xbox to cut up to 3,200 staffers, about 20% of head count. Heads are rolling at Xbox, man. Mark, there is something in the ink of large denomination bills that drive weak-minded people insane. You may be right. The Muhammad Ali series, The Greatest, sets November release date. Yeah, I mean, it looks fine. I saw the trailer for it. It looks okay. See, here's that headline again. The Odyssey first reactions are raised for Christopher Nolan's astonishing, epic, and flawless filmmaking, breathtaking, bold, and perfection. See, those words are going into a lot of critics' reviews. Not all of them, not all exactly the same, but a lot of them. I'm getting the sense that they got their line. Here's the line. That's what we're pushing. You got to push it that way. And then everybody got their marching orders to gaslight the general public to try to prop this thing up. That's my impression. To which I say, go F yourselves. I'm not going to see this thing. No way. I probably won't see it at all because I know what's going to happen. It's going to come out next week and the real critics are going to get a hold of it. And it's going to be Rotten Tomatoes, fake the critics, the studio critics, you might as well call them, will be like 100%, genius, breathtaking, bold, perfection. Then it'll be the real audience. It'll be like 20. I'll guess 29. 29%. But it's Rotten Tomatoes, so it's owned by, I'm going to say Warner Brothers. VHS franchise sets new Roy Lee and Steven Schneider produced movie based on SCP Foundation universe. Okay. Orbital Studios moving to Television City lot. Julia Garner to star in Apple TV true crime series Guilty Creatures from Craig Gillespie and Stuart Zeicherman. Craig Gillespie, didn't he just direct Supergirl? Mm-hmm. Yep. Take some jobs real quick, Craig. You can make them forget. Make them forget. House of the Dragon. Emma D'Arcy on Renana's paranoia following. I don't care. I'm not watching this show. I heard it went woke. That was what I said. I said I'd wait until the entire run of the series and then I'd see. These people burned me once with Game of Thrones. Never again. So, sounds like they're burning their current audience. Ivan Ostrovsky talks only beautiful things to look at about forced sterilization. Ew. And its U.S. remake. This was happening all around the world. That sounds terrible. I wouldn't want to see a movie about that. Johnny Galecki sets acting return as Tennessee Williams in Chicago presentation of Kowalski. A lot of names that end in I in that headline. Taylor Swift prevails in poet's plagiarism lawsuit as Florida judge dismisses case with prejudice. All right, moving on to Fandom Pulse. Angel Studios opened with Young Washington to $20.8 million on July 4th weekend, and Hollywood should take notes. I mean, yeah, they should do. I mean, this was a perfect thing for the 4th of July. They should have had a couple of movies, in the States anyway. Young Washington's a good one. You know, should have had one on the American Revolution. You know, one that didn't star Al Pacino. And, yeah, done some cool colonial stuff. Larry Correa says George R.R. Martin killed an entire generation of epic fantasy writers. I disagree with that. Fantasy is alive and well. What's hurting fantasy books is there's just too many of them. Everybody's doing a damn fantasy book. The women are really into romancy, like romantic fantasy. So there's a lot of that. It's just a glut of the stuff. I don't think it was George R.R. Martin. There's plenty of this stuff. It's just too much. Part of the problem is it's really hard. Like I did fantasy. I did a fantasy comic called The Travelers. And I would promote it. I would go to gaming conventions to promote it because there's a lot of fantasy fans at gaming conventions. Like if you took a book there and promoted it, you'd probably do okay. But there's not. You got to have a fresh angle for something like fantasy. You really do. I mean, this whole oh, he's the chosen one, and his father was the king, and he was killed by one of his advisors who stole the throne, and then he was spirited away and has to get the sword. I mean, give it a rest. Make up something new. It's not that hard. I'm not big on writing fantasy, although the Pineys has a lot of fantasy elements in it, I would say. It's not that hard. It's not that hard at all. I should probably do, if I have the time, if I ever get the time, there's so many projects I want to do, I would do a traveler's fantasy novel for fun. I did a short story with the characters. I think it was about 20, 30 pages long. One of their adventures. It was fun. But, you need a really strong world building. And you need a fun thing. I mean, a lot of people, the characters are just boring. They're all the same. The Odyssey press tour is starting to look like Supergirl's, and the dislike counter is hitting crazy numbers. The moment these people start going on about their identity politics, it's over. It's a sure sign they don't have anything. And they should never go there. If they never went there, they wouldn't lose people. Right? They wouldn't gain any people, but they wouldn't lose any. In the attempt to gain people, they end up losing people by doing this. I'll say this. Well, I can't say this because it's a feminist interpretation of the Odyssey. So they did feminize it. I was going to say they didn't feminize it, but I forgot. It's a feminist version. Why Christopher Nolan, a supposed genius, would decide, let me use a feminized version of the Odyssey is beyond me. He should have never used it. To me, that's the biggest of red flags. Unless he completely ignored her. Xbox is shutting down the studios that made its best games, and Game Pass killed them. What's killing video games are two things. Number one, the woke stuff's really bad. It's really bad for video games because it's all men. Video games are mostly for men. Everybody's afraid to say it, but it's true. Do women play video games? A few do, but they don't play. Women have a different set of values in their head. And I have no problem with that. Women are the way they are. But some of them will play video games. A few of them even are real video gamers. But those are people on the end of the bell curve that are different. Most women like relationships. And they will look at the world through the prism of how it benefits their relationships. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the fact that these people don't acknowledge that is so bizarre to me. Women who play video games, I bet if you took a poll of them, you would find that better than 80% of their significant others play video games. Which is why they do it too. If you took, it would be the same with comic books and other things that men like. Sports. Yeah. There are a handful of women who, or they, dip into something like sports when they're dating a guy who really likes sports, and then they decide they like it. But a lot of what women do, they look through the prism of their relationships, in my opinion. Nothing wrong with it. Mark, maybe if there was a romance in Supergirl, more women might have gone to see it. 100%. I said the best pitch for Supergirl would have been this. Supergirl, living in Metropolis or wherever she lived in the comic, I forget. I assume it was Metropolis. I think they could have gone with a younger Supergirl like a teenage one, high school character. Um, and she has a boyfriend. And the boyfriend does not know she's Supergirl, right? But he loves her and they get along great. But she's in her secret identity. Kara is a bit of a klutz. Doesn't, things don't turn out too good for her like Clark Kent. And her boyfriend is kind of that way too. But what Kara does is she secretly uses her superpowers to help her boyfriend look amazing and make sure he's on point for whatever he's doing, right? And then, when something happens to her, she lets it happen. If she falls down the stairs or whatever, she uses it as cover for being Supergirl, number one, and to let her boyfriend like save her in certain circumstances. That would have been an amazing take on it, I think, because it would have been a very female character. It would have been a female character showing her boyfriend support using her superpowers. And I think women would have gotten a kick out of that. See, she's secretly amazing, but she doesn't take the credit. She lets her boyfriend take the credit. But they didn't do it that way. They wanted to show her a drunk, miserable single woman with a dog who's out of control. I think that is more reflective of the people who wrote Supergirl. And you shouldn't have given it to that new screenwriter. She's totally inexperienced, in my view. Mark, the first season of Wednesday, she had 3 boys fall in love with her. I thought it was great. Every guy should be attracted to someone like Supergirl. Yeah. That could have been if you wanted to make it a total girl movie, it would have had no fights in it. It would have been Supergirl fending off, trying to decide which of the 3 guys who was going after her she could date. Right? My heart is torn between Brad and Philip and Jack, It would have been that kind of thing. It would have been all romance. But to which I say, the character was never aimed at women. Supergirl was aimed at men. It was just girl Superman. So she probably shouldn't have gotten her own movie. Probably should have just done a probably should have done another Superman movie before you tried to spin off a Supergirl movie. Do a Superman movie, introduce Supergirl as a nice person, and then if there's interest, then do a Supergirl movie. Rumor Disney is phasing out Marvel Comics publishing. And at last we've come to the end of the road. I wouldn't be surprised at all. This is a long time coming, if true. The comic industry is in bigger trouble than it's letting on. There are changes on the horizon at Marvel and DC Comics. So, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Disney is making jack all with its current model, I would guess. How could they be making money? I go to comic book conventions. Mark goes to comic book conventions, I know. And we don't see people with new comics. There's no new comics. Nobody's out there for a new comic. The old comics, oh yeah, they're looking for the old comics. The classics. It was a good run in recent history. They might be looking for that. The new stuff? What are you kidding? Are you high? Nobody even in a room sells it anymore. If they're selling it, it's in a dollar bin, which is the new quarter bin. Yeah. They're not making any money on these comics. There's no way they're making money. And think about this. They're keeping the printers running at Quebecor 24/7 to keep their per unit cost down to under a nickel, or maybe these days it's under a dime. I don't know. With the tariffs in Canada, if they had them, it could have really disrupted their model. I don't know how much they're paying now. Mark, no young person wants a new comic. 100%. They're $5 a piece. I mean, they're $4.99, $5.99. Every once in a while, one of them's $3.99. Ooh, a bargain. 20 pages of story, 16 pages of ads. No thanks. No thanks. You know what I did for the first time in maybe 30 years? I threw out comics today. I found that the last stack of comics I bought it at a comic book store in South Jersey because I was trying to talk the owner into a signing. So I bought a few comics, just at random stuff I thought maybe I'd try to read and review or something. And I set them somewhere and forgot about them. I just came across them today. I threw them right in the trash. I didn't even hesitate. One was Wolverine. One was the Hulk. I don't even care. They look so uninteresting to me now. And that was a few years ago I bought those comics. I think that was before the great wokening. Now every comic is woke and lectures you about nonsense. Who the hell wants to read this crap? There's no one. They're writing comics for no one. For communists, gender trenders, and other people who like the teachers union, I guess. These comics sell to no one now. I can't imagine being a comic book store owner. I almost was. I was super close to pulling the trigger on opening my own comic book shop. Thank God I didn't. I'd be up on the ledge right now. Mark, $5 for a 20-page American comic or $5 for a 100-page manga? Yeah, there's no contest there. There's no contest, and no one wants to do 5 pages for $5 for 100 pages in the United States. No one wants to do it. Not with these characters. They made too much money for too long. And Disney, they just don't even care about the money, I don't think. There's just no money in it for them. Their divisions, their movie division and their other divisions are making so much money. Like the comic division is just a joke. I think it's doomsday, and that's the end. The moment doomsday hits the theaters, and that's going to bomb too. I'm predicting that's going to crater now. Victor Von Doomcock just had a leak, and if that's true, you could forget about it. If that leak is true, it's going to be the biggest disaster in the history of disasters. They will destroy comic books. Alex Ogle. They are writing comics for themselves, which is to say an audience of the minimal size. I don't think they read them. I think they write angry screeds, put them in comic form, and then expect the fans to force feed it to themselves. And I don't think they read it because they're not entertained by that. It's all their politics. They already know what it is. It's just they genuinely think, there's some MAGA kids out there, I guess, who are going to pick up the comic. Well, I have to read Spider-Man. I'm a Spider-Man fan. I cannot not buy it. Oh no, another lecture. Oh no. Stuff about gay people. Oh, I'm going to have to start liking gay people now. Oh, no. It's not the way it works, delusional asshats. It's supposed to be entertaining. But here we are. Finally. It took long enough. I'm surprised it took this long, quite frankly. I've been predicting this for a long time. I don't know how they've been making money. I really don't. Well, I don't think they've been making money. But Disney has a long history of putting their trademarks, into the vault and then just renting them out. They just rent them. And they make as much money as they can, and then it goes back in the vault. Because they'll be theirs forever. They'll never let these characters go. They'll never sell them. Disney would have to be, completely broke for them to sell their library. Somebody would have to buy Disney, basically. There's a chance they'd sell it to Sony. if they thought they had to sell it, but they want to do the X-Men now. I don't think they have a chance of doing the X-Men, by the way. I think the X-Men is completely fried. Everything's fried. The entire Marvel Universe is fried. So, Alex Ogle. Oh, I finished Pineys 4. Talking of woke lecturing. The feud between the families is an interesting dynamic. Will Shelley ever be lucky in love, or will she have to go gay? I think we answered that in 4. We answered that in 4. That's the one where she... I don't want to say. I hope you're joking when you say, talk of woke lecturing. I assume you are. Yeah, the feud develops over the next couple of... Well, the feud is... I don't want to say, but the feud and the fallout from the events of issue 4 bleed over into the next several books and gets mentioned on a fairly frequent basis. So, thank you for reading, by the way, Alex. But yeah, I mean, the Marvel's just cooked, man. It's been going on too long. Even back in the 80s, it was kind of cooked. All the characters were long in the tooth. They weren't progressing. Jim Shooter was the last great editor at Marvel. Everyone after that was like corporate wonk, in my opinion. Here's another unnecessary movie, Ocean's 11 prequel. Alex Ogle, no, you put a woke lecturing in your books, but it's funny. I do? I don't remember any woke lecturing. Don't remember that at all. Ocean's 11 prequel, Vicky Krieps, George McKay, Omar Sy joining Margot Robbie. This seems completely unnecessary. And Bradley Cooper's directing. I hate prequels. I hate them so much. But okay, who's this movie for? I guess it's for the fans of Ocean's 11. Nobody from those movies are going to be in this. It's all other people. Alex Ogle, the witches from the university. Hem tries to bang one. That was in 2. That was in 2. That's not very woke. And he pays for it, too. Let's see. The villain made of gas inside Netflix Toho's ambitious bet on human vapor. Yeah, that looked pretty cool. Mark, prequels are made just to tear down the established characters. I hate them. I really do hate prequels. I don't mind a good flashback. I've done that a bunch of times in the Pineys, but a whole prequel story? I mean, I'll be honest with you. Book 19 of the Pineys has a really long flashback. You could call it kind of a prequel, but it's been set up by the series as it currently stands. So, yeah, I don't know, man. It's not even the same people. That's the real problem. Like, you're talking about a prequel, you'd have to really want to see the origins of some of these characters that you already saw. And I don't think you're going to see that. Alexander Ogle to Mark, precisely. Yeah, and Bradley Cooper directing, I don't know, man. That doesn't sound like a good idea. He's had a couple of bites at the apple. Didn't turn out too well. Rob Reiner appears posthumously in Larry David's HBO series as show takes a veiled shot at Trump. Veiled shot at Trump? You people couldn't take a veiled shot at Trump if you were literally covered in veils. from top to bottom, veiled shot at Trump. Yeah, pretty sure it's always a shot at Trump. Pretty sure that's the entire being of Rob Reiner up until his unfortunate demise. They called this Reiner's revenge against Trump, or some. He gets the last laugh. I thought, oh my God, what a way to frame that. I'm sad that Larry David's TDS seems to be metastasizing. Unfortunately, it may ruin his comedy yet. It seems to have ruined everybody else's comedy. Sad. Let's see. Odyssey first reaction, staggering, Nolan's biggest film to date. Johnny Knoxville comedy, Tiny Fugitives from producer Seth Rogen sets fall release. That doesn't sound good already. All right, let's see if we get a synopsis of Tiny Fugitives. Knoxville stars in writer-director Michael Lewin's feature that counts Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg as producers. Tiny Fugitives centers on a group of 12 reckless 12-year-olds who set out to spend the remainder of their lives at sleepaway camp with a scheme that will allow them to avoid reality. Standing in the way of their plot is Bob, Johnny Knoxville, the deranged 50-year-old camp counselor who is dead set on shutting down their plans. Okay. Maybe? Mark, I hate prequels also. Star Trek Discovery has cloaked starships everywhere. 10 years later, TOS Star Trek, Kirk and Spock look foolish when they are stunned to discover a cloaked Romulan ship. Yeah, canon was never the biggest feature of the woke. Okay. That's about it for Hollywood Reporter. Over at Bounding in the Comics, a bombshell has entered the villa with Uno's Love Island add-on pack. Not interested. Rockstar reveals that Grand Theft Auto 6 is best on PlayStation 5. Not interested. New Conan animated series from Primal creator Genndy Tartakovsky coming to Amazon Prime. Very interested in that. Hideo Kojima has a positive review of Supergirl, and that is the least surprising thing I've heard today. Over at Deadline. Let's see. Matthew Michael Carnahan to direct The Gatekeeper for Amazon MGM. I wish you had used The Gatekeeper for the people who made the Lord of the Rings of Power show. Why some of your shows definitely won't win Emmys this year? I don't know. Do they have the same stupid woke rules as the Oscars? CBS's Big Brother to debut live feeds on YouTube for limited periods. Don't care. More on the Odyssey red carpet. So here's a picture with the entire cast, as opposed to just the women. See, was that so hard? John Leguizamo. There's a guy who has nothing to complain about. There's not enough Latinos playing Latinos. Oh, well, I'll be in the Odyssey as a Greek guy. Sure, no problem. He could pass for being Greek, I think. But, geez, I wish he'd shut up. Alex Ogle. From that previous page, the human made of glass could be a nice riff on Milton's Satan gaining entry into Eden, turning himself into a mist. Of course, it will be nowhere near as literate. I think it's a South Korean flick, the Vapor guy. Looks pretty cool. Mark, Amazon killed the new live-action Conan because it was toxically masculine. I have no faith in an animated series. Oh, but Genndy Tartakovsky is a genius. And his Primal show is not to be missed. It's really good. So I would give it a chance. I would give it a chance. Vera Drew's Trandemic wins Transgender Film Center's inaugural Found Footage Fund Award. So that's a thing, everybody. Young Washington sequel, 1776 in the works after $19 million opening and second best live action debut for Angel Studio. Yeah, that's better than making Animal Farms, you idiots. Nothing wrecked my wonderful vision of Angel Studios like that Animal Farm movie. To this day, I can't understand why they made it. This I understand why they made. To greenlight an Animal Farm movie, I guess maybe they greenlit it so they could get Andy Serkis for this, but like Andy Serkis is like perfect for this movie because he plays a stuffy English dude. Animal Farm? Sad. Bleeding Fool. Netflix Wonka series faces backlash over AI Gene Wilder. It begins. More AI. So this is going to be some kind of reality show where I think they make candy. So I don't know. They already have a Willy Wonka slot machine in the casinos, in case you don't know. Alex Ogle, 1776 for modern audiences. That's what we need. Hopefully they won't do that. Wonka, Wonka's Golden Ticket, a competition series, a reality show tied to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Yeah, I don't think I want to see that. Mark, couldn't find another stuffy English dude. Apparently not. Review, cute chaos and tired gags can't save minions and monsters. Okay, not going to see it anyway. 60 years old, I'm not going to see Minions and Monsters. I'll watch it at home when nobody's here. That's the only way I can watch that movie. Tom Hardy set to return to Mobland after on-set drama. Well, that's good. I hear good things about this show, by the way. A look inside Joe Fest, America's G.I. Joe convention. Oh, let's look at that. Mark, wait until they make half of the Founding Fathers black. Well, didn't Gemini, the AI, already do that? Oh, no pictures? Joe Fest came back to Augusta for the 9th consecutive year. A real American toy convention. That's funny. One of the biggest G.I. Joe conventions in the world. I used to have G.I. Joes. I had the tall ones, man. I had the good stuff, but I filled them with firecrackers and pushed them into the pool. He had a diving suit on, but I don't have any of them anymore. Man, they'd be worth a couple of grand easy. The Wrap. Emmy nomination predictions. Which newcomers break through? Who cares? Let's see. Over a third of viewers have canceled subscriptions due to frustrating app experience, survey finds. I'll tell you, I would cancel my Comcast in a hot second if I had any other options. I know that's not an app, but it kind of is. It's so frustrating. I hate the interface. I hate everything about Comcast. It's the worst, man. Tough to use. Oh, this is another big story. I think I mentioned this last week. These guys are going to be in Heat 2. Leonardo DiCaprio and Christian Bale. Bale plays Vincent Hanna, the Al Pacino role. And DiCaprio will play Chris Shirelis, Val Kilmer's role. Question is, who's going to play De Niro's role? Because they got to play that. Mark, Elliot Page could play John Hancock. Elliot, you're going to have to sign the document again. But I signed it. You got to sign it big. He signed it big. John Hancock. Oh, that last name is triggering. Listen, you're going to have to do this, Elliot, if you want to be in the movie. Alex Ogle, movie pitch, 1812. The Americans had learned that loyalists to the North are putting pineapple on pizza and set out to wage war against it, only to discover a blue-haired regiment refusing to battle as they can't decide their pronouns and actually prefer pineapple. Sydney Sweeney to be cast in any role in a bikini. I don't know. Let me see a draft. Would you see this Heat too? I don't know if I would see this. It's a good cast. Who's De Niro, though? You can't bring back De Niro, obviously. He's like 83? Too old. He can't be in this. But didn't Kilmer's character get killed in this? I thought Kilmer's character died at the end. Or did he survive? I don't remember. Did they all survive? I thought they got killed at the end. De Niro, I think, survives. Who would be De Niro? Sebastian Maniscalco. That would be funny. But they need a serious actor. Someone who's Italian. I don't know. All right, moving on. Cosmic book news. Supergirl leak says someone at Warner Brothers wants James Gunn out. Yeah. Like everyone. Filmmakers don't want to work with DC, and after Supergirl, it's getting worse. I don't know. It's about the money. It's about the money. You're doing a work-for-hire job. It's about the money. I don't care. Yeah, I wouldn't care at all. If they called me today, I'd be like, sure, I'll be there tomorrow. What time you want me there? If they were going to hire me, if they were serious about it. They wouldn't hire me, of course, but if they were serious about it, absolutely I would work for them. And you say, Tony, but would you do all that woke crap? I would try to turn them against it, but ultimately I'd want that paycheck. I mean, that's what it's about. It's about that paycheck. I mean, I need the money. But, you know, there are ways you can kind of work around it. I would make their lives living hell, though. They'd be watching the dailies. Well, that didn't sound very inclusive. That line sounded a little misogynist. I'll work on it. I'll get it back to you. And then I wouldn't change it. And then they'd just be like, you didn't change the line. Oh, was that the line? I thought it was the other line. Yeah, you changed that line, and now it sounds even more misogynist. Oh, right. Sorry. I must have got him confused. Come back tomorrow. That's what I would do. Wear him down. It's about who wants to win the most in that sort of situation. Once you got a contract, you're in. So basically, I'd wear them down. Now, maybe they'd replace me at some point, but I think I would win in the end because I know how to work those guys. I know how to work those guys in the corporate world to I just wear them down. You just have to want it more than they do. And you have to be willing to sit there while they yell at you. And just play dumb. Oh, is that what you wanted? Yes, I wanted more people of color in the movie. You didn't cast any. Oh, well, I'll cast some. You will? Yeah, you better. I'll get right on it today. And then I come back and I don't cast anybody. And they're just like, well, you didn't cast anybody. Oh, was that for this movie? You just play stupid. And get what you want that way. You just wear them down. David Ellison's Paramount has receipts on woke Hollywood and fans declare independence. Okay. What does that mean? Comic Book News has learned from sources that David Ellison and Paramount Brass are sitting on an internal data and analytics tracking the audience shift around wokeism and DEI-driven content. Hard numbers confirming that moviegoers have been declaring at the box office for better part of a decade. Hollywood's messaging first era isn't just unpopular. Per the data, it's measurably, quantifiably over. In other words, Ellison has the receipts. Okay. So, is that why you released Supergirl? I mean, you could have stopped it. You could have recut it. People inside the studio knew it was a disaster from the screenings. The audience did show up, handed it a B- cinema score, below the Marvels and the Flash. Oof. Oh, good luck with the Odyssey, dummies. Let's see. Lupita Nyong'o says Nolan's Odyssey gives women what Homer didn't. Women aren't going to see the Odyssey. Jesus H. Christmas. It's infuriating to hear this over and over again. Imagine being Lupita Nyong'o, thinking like, oh, I can't wait till all my friends see the Odyssey. I bet she couldn't name 2 of her friends who would go see that movie if she wasn't in it. That's the only reason they're going to see it, if they see it at all. If there are other actresses, they're probably going to see it. They probably all live in L.A. You mean to tell me that normal women say to themselves, oh, I can't wait to see the Odyssey? No, none of them do. 0 of them do. Except maybe that 1 or 2 women who have a PhD from some stupid college, and they read that feminized version, or feminist version of the Odyssey translation. Oh yeah, they're going to see it. Oh, they can't wait. They're going to see it with their girlfriends. But that's it. This is an audience of tens of people he's aimed this movie at. House of the Dragon still going poorly. Season 3, Episode 3 review. Worst episode yet. Marvel Comics moving to Webtoon by 2030. Rob Liefeld. Believe it. That doesn't sound like they'll make any money. You might as well just put it in that crate at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark and ship it back into a warehouse. Who the hell goes to Webtoon? You tell me enough people go to Webtoon to read Marvel Comics that it would even be worth money? Please. Obsession star Indy Navarrete wants Marvel already met with X-Men director. I bet she has. She's going to be in stuff. Oh, she'll be all over the place in a couple of years. You're thinking of her for Domino? They already got Domino. I like the Domino they have, even though they race swapped her, but I guess they're going to recast everybody. Who knows? Probably don't want to be in the MCU, by the way, honey. You probably want to get something else. Lobo becomes the face of Supergirl's digital release. This movie did so bad, they're trying to make it a Lobo movie. Jesus. Robert Downey Jr. shares Avengers Doomsday chess art that nails the leak. Okay, so... Okay. Boss Logic, whatever that means. Oh, that's the name of the guy who sent it to him? So... Okay. Doomsday. So Doom's the only guy left standing. Yeah, that's basically what the leak, the plot leak goes something like this. And this is via this article and Doomcock on his channel. So in a nutshell, the movie starts with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man in his universe. And he is fighting Wolverine and Deadpool from the Wolverine and Deadpool movie. And the reason he's fighting them is Wolverine and Deadpool are trying to set a bomb that will destroy Tobey Maguire's universe. Because that will somehow save their universe. because it all ties into the TVA, which if you haven't been following Disney Plus's terrible shows, you wouldn't even know what that is. But the TVA is this weird organization they created to police the multiverse, and that's where Tom Hiddleston's Loki ended up in his stupid show. So the TVA monitors all these diverse timelines, and they break off for various reasons. So by collapsing Tobey Maguire's universe and killing everyone in it, Wolverine and Deadpool will save their universe. Got it? So Wolverine, at the end of the fight, stays behind to make sure the bomb goes off, and Deadpool escapes. Because that's just the kind of guy Deadpool is. He's kind of a D. But it doesn't make Wolverine very noble because everybody dies in the Tobey Maguire universe. Then it cuts to Loki, who before he died, because I think he died, I don't know, I don't remember how, but for some reason he helps Steve Rogers escape to another universe because his time traveling nonsense somehow upset the TVA. So he escapes to another universe, which happens to be the Fantastic Four's universe, and he is set up there to have his kid and live his life. But then, 10 years later, the TVA comes, or Dr. Doom and Pedro Pascal approach him and say, hey, you're screwing up our universe. So they team up, and then like Thor and Steve go on a mission to the TVA, but they find everybody dead, and it turns out like Doom wiped them all out because it was all part of his elaborate plot. And his elaborate plot is to take over all the universes, kill everybody, and start over with one universe, which he will rule as a god. And that's kind of the end of the movie. Like, he resurrects all the characters in his universe, and they're all recast. So you get to see all the new people who will be the heroes going forward, and all the old actors are done. Doesn't that sound like an amazing time? That's what I got from and now some of those are rumors, obviously, may not be true. It could all be a feint, right? It could all have been leaked on purpose in order to throw people off the trail, and then you get the real story when you go to it. But yeah, it sounds really bad if true. Sounds like they're going to kill everybody, which sounds terrible. I don't want to see. I'm not paying for a movie where Spider-Man dies. What are you, out of your mind? Who the hell wants to see that? That sounds like the worst idea ever. All right, moving on to Hollywood and Toto. Larry David's life shows Trump derangement's cruel side. Yep. So that's Rob Reiner there, playing George Washington. Odyssey star goes full woke, promoting film. That would be Helen of Troy. And patriotic young Washington draws huge crowd on nation's birthday. So, good deal. All right, we're just about to, what time is it? About 9 o'clock. More on the sequel to Young Washington. Oh, this was an announcement. It's not Hollywood, but Trump announced that Walmart will lower prices, urges other retailers to follow suit. So Walmart's going to lower their price of ground beef by 15% and a bunch of other things, apparently because Trump asked them to. And then they're going to try to, encourage the other stores to do the same. Mark, gotta bounce, Tony. Thanks for tuning in, my friend. Alex Ogle, Doomsday is the wokest idea. Invert all power structures and then substitute morally dubious ones. Yeah, and the sad thing is, it's not even Doctor Doom as we know him. It's some, you know, it's some other version of Doctor Doom, and I don't know why they bothered to get Robert Downey Jr. to even play it. I just don't get it. So, Alex Ogle, Trump is going Soviet price control? No, he's just trying to get everybody to lower their prices. And here's the thing. They can lower their prices because the gas went down. Let me check on gas. Last I checked in South Jersey, it went to $3.71. Let's see. Oh, that's the wrong. Hold on. I used the wrong thing. Gas Buddy. There it is. Ooh. One guy went up to $3.79 for some insane reason, but $3.71 seems to be the price now. So it's been creeping down. So they can afford to knock their price down. He's trying to encourage that. He didn't order them to. He asked them, which is different. Elon Musk blasts Christopher Nolan on X for desecrating Homer with the Odyssey. What a worm. The Boys' Jack Quaid joins Invincible cast. All right. Just about to wrap up here. More of the same. Illumination brought in How to Train Your Dragon composer for Minions score. Moana. Live action box office projections fall again as live action remake faces potentially disastrous opening weekend. Couldn't happen to a nicer studio. Over at Breitbart, Graham Plattner accused of breaking into a woman's house and sexually assaulting her. Campaign canceled, events over the weekend. So it looks like he's out of the running. Over at Breitbart Entertainment, more on Lupita Nyong'o, more on Springsteen, more on Supergirl plummeting. Critics and viewers alike hate what Obama did to Larry David. What did Obama do to him? Larry David almost went out on top. Then he made the mistake of getting mixed up with Barry and Michelle Obama. No, I think, look, Larry was pretty political. It's his views. It's not like he's influenced. Let's see. The Office star Rainn Wilson says F you to Ricky Gervais for telling actors to shut up about politics. Well, I don't know why he would say that. Michael Rappaport explains why he stopped calling Trump a D-stain. Yeah, because Trump stood up for Israel, and he lives in New York where anti-Semitism seems to be running wild, and he's running for mayor. I don't know if he has much of a chance, but it's been quite a turnaround for him. And finally, over at the New York Post, more on Graham Plattner. I don't think we got much more in the way of headlines here. This is a BJ's that the roof collapsed for some insane reason. Alex Rodriguez dating fitness trainer Megan Hayden, pair spotted in the Hamptons. Well, not surprised. He'd date a smoke show. Absolutely. Guy like him, professional athlete, millions of dollars. Of course he's going to date some of the hottest women. Alex Ogle, anti-Semitism in New York? I wonder what could be driving that. Yeah, it's a real mystery. Zelensky, oh, this guy. I hate this guy. Slams world's absurd lack of interceptor missers after deadly Russian attack on Kiev. All this guy does is complain that he doesn't get enough money. He's rich beyond your wildest dreams. He's worth more than Nancy Pelosi. And all he does is complain he doesn't get more money. I think we should cut him off immediately. Teen football player's devastated mom asked for time to grieve as body found in search for special soul son. That's a shame. A lot of people died today. Oh, wow. Look at this hot thing. Shoo! Smoke show. This is some quarterback's girlfriend. Trump's face to appear on money, passports, and cards. Here's all the places he's branded as president. It's going to be like, you ever see when they talk about the Egyptian pharaohs and how they had statues of themselves, but then like when the next pharaoh came in, they would knock those statues down or cross out the names. That's going to be Trump. Whoever takes over for Trump, they're going to try to erase his name. So there's Trump on passports. There's Trump on, what is this? Special edition passport. There's Trump on a gold coin. Social Security card. His signature's on the $100 bill now. Got President Trump International Airport. You got DC federal buildings. Outside the Department of Labor. Got the Trump coin. Trump gold card. Trump RX. Kennedy Center. Oh, they took that one down, though. That one's gone. I find it hilarious, but not sure what that does for him in the short term. Some dudes fired illegal fireworks at a penthouse in New York. Trump would let rain keep Long Island opera singer from celebrating America's 250th at concert. Good. Good. Mm-hmm. Here's Trump ringing in. He created the Trump accounts for little kids. You get $1,000 in savings, and people, the corporations donate. Those are a good idea. Jimmy Kimmel joins Obama-produced HBO show to mock Trump. Not surprised there. Yeah. These guys will all be on Netflix. Where's Stephen Colbert? He needs a job. Texas border officials seize whopping $1.1 million worth of cocaine in a single day. That doesn't seem like that much cocaine. Right? Haven't they seized bigger hauls of cocaine than 1.1 million? All right. Israel warns of any Iranian leader who seeks its destruction will be eliminated. They're still doing this frickin' funeral. My God. And that's got to be a state-run thing. I don't know why Trump said, I didn't think he was that popular. I don't think he is. Sotheby's elegant restaurant Marcel features T-Rex tooth display and succulent fare. That's kind of cool. There's Swifty. I think we're at the end. Oh, this Nancy Guthrie case, man. They're never going to figure this out. I mean, it sucks. I feel so bad for that woman's daughter. I'm spending $62K on my bridal glow up. Just don't tell my hubby to be. Yeah, it sounds like you're starting off great. All right. I think we're just about... Oh, here we go. Chuck Todd fumes that Trump made the country's birthday about Donald Trump. think that's it. Alex, Sotheby's. Oh, Sotheby's, not Sotheby's. Sorry. Thank you for correcting that. And there was one thing, ancient inscription revealing Christianity's clash with mysterious cult decoded by researchers. Wonder what it said. Do they have it here? An engraving was found at the underground Mithras temple at Surzevian Castle, a Turkish fortification roughly 40 miles north of the Syrian border. The inscription back 1700 years, it was written in Aramaic, which was widely spoken in the ancient Near East, including by Jesus Christ. The temple was dedicated to Mithras, a deity worshipped by followers of a mystery cult associated with light and cosmic order. During the 2nd and 3rd centuries, Mithraism was widespread throughout the Roman Empire, and the Surzevian underground sanctuary was regarded as the best preserved temples. The inscription was at the entrance of the temple, along with a depiction of a cross, meaning it had eluded researchers since it was discovered in 2017. The engraving is the first known Aramaic inscription documenting the closure of the Mithras temple. Okay. The inscription mentions both Mithras and Jesus Christ, symbolizing the shift from one faith to another. That's crazy old. I love archaeology. I still have only found... Where is it? Oh, my penny's gone. I found one penny so far with my metal detector. That's it. In my own yard, of course. Because in New Jersey, you have to be very careful where you go treasure hunting. There's all sorts of laws here. I know where all the pirate treasure now is in South Jersey, but I can't go looking for any of it because most of it's in the Pine Barrens. So you have to kind of know where to look, or you have to have permission, or you can't keep anything, and they'll put you in prison because that's the way New Jersey is. Anyhow, that's it for me, Tony D. What have we learned today? Well, we learned that the box office is a mess. Supergirl is a disaster for James Gunn. Disclosure Day, kind of not far behind. Mango and Goo Goo, kind of not far behind. And Hollywood has some stinkers coming up. So we learned that the Odyssey is full of woke nonsense. And, well, we learned that Young Washington did so well, they're going to do a sequel. So it's going to be slightly older Washington in 1776. Which should be badass. I tried to make Washington as badass as possible in book 17 of the Pineys. He is badass in that. So, make no mistake. Alex Ogle, have a great week. We've learned that Hollywood has not yet learnt any lessons, but might not be far off learning them. Yeah, they're going to learn the hard way, and especially the comic book industry. Yeah, I think we learned that they're going down the toilet really fast. I have to go call a bunch of comic book guys and tell them to close their stores before it's too late. Anyhow, that's it for me, Tony D, Little Joan. This week, tomorrow, I'll be at the Laurel Manor at 10 a.m. for How to Hunt the Jersey Devil. Who will you be teaching about catching the Jersey Devil this week? Well, the locals in Laurel Springs, New Jersey at Laurel Manor at 10 a.m. tomorrow. And then on Wednesday, I'll be in Ocean City for the Ocean City Public Library event at 7 p.m. for Ghost in the Pines. This is my new talk, one of my new talks on Ghost in the Pines. And then on Saturday, assuming I don't get rained out, I will be at Moods Farm for their annual Blueberry Festival. And that runs 10 to 4, so I'm super psyched for that. Oh, Moods is the best. They've got blueberry donuts. They got blueberry cider. They have a contest for blueberry desserts that all the locals enter. And then after they determine a winner, they say, have at it. And they let anybody eat the desserts. And let me tell you something, they're amazing. One year they had cupcakes, blueberry cupcakes with blueberry icing and real blueberries inside. Man, let me tell you, it was amazing. Amazing cupcakes. So yeah, those 3 events this week, and many more to come, I hope. Anyhow, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one.